Okay, so starting the workout out today was barbell shoulder press, starting 3x5, 90, 100, and then into 115 pounds. This is the first set. I lost the last three because of an SD card issue. And then moving into the next exercise is this machine shoulder press, something that I haven't really done a lot of in the past, but I'm really starting to enjoy just because of the isolation. I'm feeling a really good stretch down at the bottom here. So this one I'm doing more of a bodybuilding type sets and reps. I'm doing 3x8. And then on the last one, I am doing a sort of a burnout set, half the weight and then going to failure. On the next one here, this is another exercise that I haven't done a ton of in the past, but I'm starting to notice a big difference in my workouts is the upright row. I started doing it just with free weights on the set barbells, but moving to the Smith machine has made a big difference in terms of control and just not feeling like I'm going to rip my shoulders out of the socket. This was a recommendation from my friend Jake, and it's another one of these exercises that I have noticed has made a huge difference in my shoulders. So feeling pretty good about this one. Next exercise, of course, for any shoulder day, lateral raise. I've always felt a little bit weird about lateral raises because I don't feel them that much, but the weight always feels really light. I've tried dropping down the weight and trying to focus on the form, but it always just feels a little bit awkward, and I wish my gym had one of those, lateral raise machines that would just keep the movement consistent, because I always feel like I'm doing different things with my arms. But this was a 3x10 of lateral raise with 20 pounds. And then the last exercise for the day is face pulls. Going with 60 pounds, just doing a 3x15 here, high volume, just trying to really feel the rear delts burn on this one, which I definitely do. Really like this exercise. It's kind of hard to go up in weight with this one, past the 60 pounds because it becomes hard to anchor myself, but I'm going to try going up to 70 pounds on the next workout and see how it goes. Okay. I'm going to attempt to put my sleep score on the screen here. We're going to go over what happened last night. So last night, the sleep score was 74, which is all right, but not, as good as I was hoping for. I got my body battery up to 58. HRV is still balanced. According to Garmin, I had a stressful day yesterday. That doesn't really resonate with me, but work was a little bit busier than usual. I think the biggest kicker is before bed last night, I ate Trader Joe's sells these sour candy gummies, and I ate almost an entire bag of them by myself, which was technically within my macros, but definitely I had noticed a trend of, the later in the day that I eat, the worse my sleep is, and that is especially true when it comes to sweets. So, pure sugar right before bed I can't see that having good effects on my sleep. So that's likely what happened. That being said, you know, for how poor of a night's sleep I got, my stress for today has been pretty manageable, and I'm feeling pretty good. Had a good workout. I like having just a day for shoulders. Shoulders and chest have always been my weak point. My legs I've always been really dominant in, but upper body has been hard for me. You know, I'm pretty bicep dominant, which has made getting a good back workout hard for me. My chest is really weak, and my triceps are really weak, and my shoulders are really weak. So I'm trying to prioritize those. So I have just a specific shoulder day and just a specific chest day, and that so far is actually working pretty well for me, despite the fact that I'm actually in a deficit right now. Still trying to get back to some of the strength numbers that I was at pre-injury. I was feeling pretty strong before I got hurt, and so I'm just going to slowly work my way back there. I talked a little bit about it in the other video, but the 5-3-1 is sort of just a way to progressively overload forever. So what 5-3-1 is basically a 4-week cycle, and week number 1 you're doing a 3x5 with percentages based on your 90% of your 1 rep max. The second week, those percentages move up a little bit, and you're doing a 3x3. The last week you're doing a 5-3-1 with higher percentages, so that's moving up again. And then week number 4 is a deload. And so the idea is you just essentially cycle that forever, progressively adding weight over time, small increments. But I like the simplicity of it. I like that it's just something that I can do over and over and over again with a bit of structure. And then I can sort of make the accessory workouts that I do whatever I want, just depending on what the goals are, because ultimately it's a conditioning program. So shoulder day, right? I did my barbell shoulder press. That's number 1, but the rest of the split is pretty bodybuilding oriented. A big thing for me is, despite the fact that everything that I do is performance based and there's no real need for like aesthetic type workouts, as a kid I was really into bodybuilding and trying to get big and have an aesthetic physique, and that bug is definitely still in me. And so I like the idea of doing some strength training, but also still having some bodybuilding work. I still want to have those big shoulders. I still want the V taper. I still want to be lean. And I think having strong shoulders, especially for something like rock climbing, is important. So it definitely benefits that. And then being lean overall is just good for all of the activities that I'm doing. I'm pretty heavy for all of the things that I do. I'm pretty heavy for rock climbing. I'm pretty heavy for running, skiing, whatever, right? But rock climbing and running, I'm definitely on the heavier side for those 2 sports. And so if I can get a little bit lighter, which is why I'm in a caloric deficit right now, I think that I would have a better time doing those things, less wear and tear on the joints, and especially now considering that my left hip socket is about 20 years older than the right, I think a little bit less wear and tear from weight would definitely do me well. That's the video for today. Trying out some new things as far as pace goes, trying to include some more. That's the video for today. Trying out some new things, speeding up the pace a little bit, playing around with music. I'm trying to figure out how I can make a little bit more, interesting content for the start of the video, as opposed to just doing the coffee thing and then just having music until I'm ready to talk to the camera, because it feels like there's a big gap in there where if I was watching, I would just lose interest. So I talked to my wife a little bit. She had some great ideas, so we're going to start trying that out in some of these other videos. See ya.